This is the Fantasy Football 411 podcast. The best place to get the latest 411 on your fantasy football team. Here are your hosts, Alex and Amanda.
Welcome back to the Fantasy Football 411 podcast. I'm your host, Amanda.
And I'm Alex, and this is the best place to get the latest 411 for your fantasy football team. In this episode, we're going to give you the Week 4 recap. We're going to get into the waivers for Week 5, as well as some of the injuries that happened this past week. And to close it off, we're going to give you the Week 5 matchups to prepare you for the next week. Now, I don't know about you, but I was pretty victorious in Week 4, won in both of our leagues. How did you do?
I'm still in it, so I don't know how this is going to play out.
So still competing. Mm-hmm. That's usually me every week, so can't complain there. Even though I won in both leagues this past week, CeeDee Lamb did get 3 points. You might have lost if you had him on your team, but so there are a few dud weeks for a few wide receivers. Don't sell low on these players. It's okay. They're going to have tough weeks. The Cowboys are still, it's almost like everybody's coming back from injury anyways, so they're trying to figure out how to play different players there as well. Like, look at Michael Gallup is coming back, so they're going to have to figure out how to navigate that, and there's going to be more of that. So just be ready for that. Players on crowded rosters like that are going to be, they're going to have low weeks. Let's get into the latest 411. To start off, the injuries worth noting, tight end Logan Thomas was ruled out this week. One of my opponents actually played him against me, but he had a injury. He had a hamstring injury at the end of the first quarter, so that might be one of the reasons why I had such a good matchup that week. But
David Montgomery hyperextended his knee. Shouldn't be major, but he's getting an MRI today.
QB Teddy Bridgewater left with a concussion. Nothing major. Just monitor it if you are playing him. I mean, if you're in a one quarterback 10-team league, you're probably not going to throw him in there anyways. But if you're in a super flex, obviously this is worth monitoring.
Running back Tony Jones Jr. was carted off with an ankle injury.
Pretty big as Alvin Kamara's backup. Curious to see how that pans out. QB Jimmy Garoppolo left with a calf injury. I don't think Shanahan's released anything on what it is yet specifically. I don't know if they even know, but just have Trey Lance on standby if you are looking into playing Jimmy G. To close those off, on the defensive side, both cornerbacks, Surtain with the Broncos and Byron Jones with the Dolphins, left with minor injuries. But they should be monitored just because we don't always mention defensive players on here, but these are two cornerback-heavy teams. Like, the Miami Dolphins have been pretty good. Byron Jones is one of their best cornerbacks there. And same with Surtain II, who got drafted to the Broncos this year. So if they go down, obviously their defense takes a little bit of a hit, as well as, all the linemen that get injured and the other defensive players. So keep those in mind every week whenever you hear those. That could factor in your fantasy output. Some fun stats on this past week.
QB Daniel Jones, he threw 28 for 40 for 402 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception.
Henry, Elliott, and Edmonds, that's Derrick Henry, Ezekiel Elliott, Chase Edmonds, led in rushing this week in that order, but Edmonds averaged 10 yards per carry, which I thought was pretty impressive.
Wide receiver Deebo Samuel, he received 8 times for 156 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Wide receiver Tyreek Hill received 11 times for 186 yards and 3 touchdowns. So as you would expect, Tyreek Hill would be putting up those numbers. Deebo Samuel was a little bit of a shocker. I can't believe he was keeping up with him. There's another one I want to mention that I didn't put on this list, but it helped me out immensely in one league. I have him in both leagues. Cordarrelle Patterson this past week hauled in 5 of 6 passes thrown his way for 82 yards and 3 touchdowns, including a 42-yard touchdown when he lined up as a receiver. Pretty impressive. Saved me in my league this week because he did end up with like 32 or 34 points. Leading into the waiver segment, Cordarrelle Patterson was there on our list last week or the week before, whenever we had it. Should have listened to us. Should listen to, actually, that was the last one. That was last week that we both agreed on. You didn't agree with any other one, but you agreed with that one. So I guess anyone that we mutually agree on, that goes to show you should probably pick them up. But that being said, we're going to get into the hot and cold segment. Starting off with the cold, as we normally do, I only have one player in here because I couldn't think of too many others. We have quite a few hot ones, but to start off with the cold player, it's quarterback Zach Wilson. Now, he's in here because we recommend, or I recommend, that you do pick him up, but I wouldn't spend a lot of fab on him. I wouldn't make it a top priority because I don't think after week 5, he's going to be too consistent. I think week 5 is his next shot. Like this week, coming off of a hot game, he has a good matchup against the Falcons, but he looked a lot better against the Titans after 3 straight good defenses going against him. So now he looks good against Atlanta as a DFS play, but I'm not sure if he's going to be worth the risk otherwise in week-to-week leagues or in redraft leagues or dynasty this week. What do you think of Zach Wilson being a cold pickup?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to rush to go get him. I mean, their next game is in London, so maybe he'll have some good luck in another country. That's actually
a good point you said that. I guess if there's another challenge to throw his way, it's actually that trip to London. It might throw him off, if any. I mean, us as Jets fans are kind of hoping it's going to be good for him, but just keep in mind, he did go against 3 really good defenses in the first 3 weeks, so you never know. I mean, Atlanta's not the best, so we'll find out. Who's hot?
We have wide receiver Rashad Bateman, supposedly the second best rookie in the draft for wide receivers this year, so he is coming off IR.
I think he's a hot pickup. One of the reasons is I have him stashed on my IR.
Of course you do.
But he is supposedly, like she said, the second best rookie. And not only that, but he's on the Ravens, who's, throwing bombs to Marquise Brown right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously he's dropping passes, so that might be better for Rashad Bateman. Busy wide receiver room there, but I believe he's going to get some good targets and he's going to have some good volume. I can't wait to watch him play. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, I mean, I think because Marquise Brown is having such a hard time holding on to those balls.
You just wanted to say that.
He has a good shot to be a nice target.
Quarterback Jared Goff is somehow throwing for a 69.9 completion percentage and gets the Vikings in week 5. I think he's a great pickup this week if you want a streaming quarterback. If I needed one, I would 100% pick him up. I almost picked him up last week, but I have Aaron Rodgers, so I didn't.
Yeah, so I threw Damian Williams on here just because if David Montgomery is out for a few weeks, Damian Williams will be the next up starter. So he's just someone to keep an eye out for.
Right, especially if he is healthy. Damian Williams looked pretty good out there.
I guess he had some sort of knee issue, but they're expecting him to be the starter if David Montgomery is out for a few weeks.
Yeah, and I guess if Damian Williams isn't healthy, look for Khalil Herbert. He's the 3rd string running back. Might be a good pickup if Damian Williams is out. Even like as a DFS play, because he's going to be like nothing on DraftKings or FanDuel. And the final hot pickup is tight end Dawson Knox. He had 5 receptions on 8 targets, 37 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Now, Dawson Knox has been talked about on multiple platforms for a few weeks now. We might have mentioned him here and there. I wasn't hot on him. Now I'm kind of thinking I'm leaning that way. I agree with you on this one by putting him there. Just because he is getting the volume that everybody predicted now. I'm a late bloomer here. But yeah, Dawson Knox, go pick him up.
And I just have an honorable mention. Jamison Crowder, he came back this week and he hauled in 7 of his 9 targets for 61 yards and 1 touchdown. And he seems to be a favorite for Zach Wilson. So we all love Jamison Crowder here.
Yeah, there is the conspiracy. I think you brought it up that Zach Wilson's only playing better because Jamison Crowder's back.
Did.
Yeah.
We just needed Crowder back.
Yeah,
we're good to go.
I mean, I hope that's not the case because I don't think they're going to have Crowder after the season. So
well.
Moving on to the week 5 matchups. All right, starting off, we have the Rams at the Seahawks. The over-under on this game is 52.5. I'm going to go under.
Okay. I went over.
And the only reason I'm going under is because the Rams defense is stacked. And I don't know. I mean, 52.5, that's a high score. Not saying it can't happen, but I just think I see the shootout potential, but I think it's going to come in just under. I think it's going to be in the 40s, the over-under.
And then we have the London game. It's the Jets versus the Falcons. And the over-under is 43.5. I chose the under on that one.
Yeah, I could see that being under as well. I'll go with that one. It's obviously going to be a good matchup between those two teams because they both struggle on defense and on offense a little bit. So I'm curious to see how that plays out, especially at 9:30 in the morning, East Coast time. We have the Lions at the Vikings. The over-under on this game is 49.5. I'm with you on this one. I'm going under. And keep in mind, these games are not in order on time. I know we've done that in the past, but really the most important thing on these ones is we wanted to comment on the over-unders. So just know that the London game is starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. It's going to be the earliest game out of all these. And then the rest are just throughout the rest of the day. So Lions at Vikings, 49.5 under. We're going both under.
Mm-hmm. The Dolphins at the Bucks, which is a 49.5 over under, and I chose the over.
See, I think between the Rams and the Seahawks, I think the Rams and the Seahawks have more of a shot of going over than the Dolphins at the Bucks, so I'm going under on the Dolphins at the Bucks. The Packers at the Bengals, the over under on this game is 49.5. I think it'll be kind of unexpected because the Bengals are playing that way this season. I'm going to go over on this one. I think it's going over 49.5.
I chose the over. The Eagles at the Panthers, the over under is 46. What was it?
Yeah, 46.5.
46.5. Yeah, I'll choose the over on that.
I mean, Darnold's showing up. He has more rushing touchdowns. He has the most QB rushing touchdowns this early in the season, right? We heard that?
Yeah, I think he had 5 rushing touchdowns within the first 4 games. It's like a record for the Panthers.
So, yeah, I mean, he's scoring. And they have a good schedule coming up, like looking forward the rest of the season for them. They have a great schedule. So I think he's going to continue putting up points. And I don't think 46.5 over under is outrageous for this game. So yeah, I'm going the over as well on that one. The Browns and the Chargers, you're looking at the over under of 49.5 in this game. I could see that happening as well. I'm going to go with over on that one.
I agree. The 49ers at the Cardinals, the over-under is 52.5, and I'm going to choose the over on that one.
The only reason I'm going to choose the under on that one is I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to play. I just think the 49ers have been finding any respectful way not to play him because they want to play Trey Lance. And I think Trey Lance is a great quarterback, and I think he will be, but I just don't think he's there yet to put up a massive amount of points, especially going against Kyler Murray. Now, Kyler Murray alone can put up 52.5 points, but I just don't think it's going to happen in this game. So I'm going to take the under on that one. The Giants at the Cowboys, the over-under on that is 50.5. I don't see it again. Once again, I'm going to go the under on this one. Like I said, the same thing as the last one. Cowboys could put up a lot of points. I just don't think the Giants will. Even though Saquon had a monster game this past week, I just don't think the sustainability is there. I'm going under on that one. What about you?
Yeah, I chose the over on that one. Just if this was the week that Saquon had his boost and he's going to be this Saquon from now on, then I think that the Giants will have a good shot.
Yeah, that's true.
And then we have the Bills at the Chiefs. The over-under is 56.5, and I chose the over.
It's going to be a high score. I mean, just because I think it's going to be so high like you do, I'm going to take the under just because
that doesn't make any sense.
Because I know how my luck works. And I know the last time I was like, oh, it's going to be a massive score in this game. It ended up being like 14-7. So I'm going to take the under on that one.
Like the Bucks and the Bucks and the Patriots.
Yeah, exactly. Like we thought they were going to smoke them. So keep in mind, I know this is a little late to tell you this, but we are recording this before the Chargers and Raiders game on Monday night in week 4. So just know if we didn't mention anything in that game, that's why. But on to the next. I will take the under on Bills and Chiefs. She's taking the over at 56.5. The next matchup is the Saints at Washington football team. The over-under is 44.5. I'm going to go under on this one as well.
So do you read just what I wrote and say, I'm going to go the opposite?
No, because there was because there was a few that I actually agreed with you on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I chose the over on this one. The Patriots at the Texans, the over-under is 40.5, and I chose the under.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Just because they're both rookie quarterbacks, and I don't think like each team has like maybe one dominant target, so I just don't think it's going to go crazy anyway. So yeah, I agree with you on that one. The Broncos at the Steelers, the over-under is 40.5. If Teddy doesn't play, I mean, this is really like a contingency, you know, because if Teddy doesn't play, they're definitely not going over. If he does play, I'm still going under on this one. So under for me.
I can see that. I chose the over, but I can see the under on this one too. The Titans and the Jags, the over-under is 48.5. I'm going to go the under on this one. I'm
definitely going the under. The only reason I'm going the under is because the Titans couldn't even beat the Jets. They did put up 24 points, so that's great. You're halfway there to 48. The Jaguars did just put up 24 points, though, too, or something like that. So I'm going to go under, though. I don't think they're going to do it again this week. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I'm with you on that. The Bears are at the Raiders. The over-under on that game is 45.5. Yeah, I'm going over on that one.
Colts at the Ravens. The over-under is 48.5, and I'm going over. But I could also see this one going under.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under on that one. All right, so that is the Week 5 matchups. Make sure you take our suggestions. You would have had Cordero Patterson this past week.
Schultz, and I'll throw him out as another waiver pickup if he's available.
Yeah, one of my opponents actually did pick up Dalton Schultz last minute and tried playing him against me. Didn't do him any good, but he did put up a good game and was a good pickup. If you're going for Schultz on waivers, he's probably worth 20% of your fab just because he is a tight end. You know, the rest of the guys, they're not huge pickups this week, so I wouldn't dump more than 30% on any of them unless you're absolutely desperate. But I just don't think anybody we mentioned in this episode on the hot segment was worth anything crazy. I mean, Damian Williams as a David Montgomery handcuff is kind of, you know, valuable. I guess you could see that there, but I still wouldn't put more than like 25% just because it is Damian Williams. He's a second string running back. He's already had his, you know, time in the NFL to prove anything, and he hasn't really shown too much, you know, besides when he was on the Chiefs, but now he's dealing with a knee injury. I wouldn't go crazy. 20% on Schultz, Knox, same thing, 20%. And Rashad Bateman, we don't know what he's going to do. I would go no more than 10% on him. So that's that. That's pretty much it for this episode. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. Make sure you follow us everywhere you find us at Fan Football 411.
You can watch us on YouTube, Fantasy Football 401 Podcast, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We need to do some more TikToks. Yeah. So good luck next week. Week 5. Here we come. See ya.
That was the most normal.